And when I say honesty in the beginning, that this is the way in which, rather than the company that says, oh, we can't find your records, we can't find that thing that we did, or we can't find, all of this kind of stuff. That this is something that is very, very important to the receptivity of the personality of the Penta. I mean, as you'll see as we move along, these three demonstrating areas, they're really the basis of understanding how to be successful as a group. I mean, these are the three keys to being successful. Now, obviously, they're going to be based on all of the underpinning issues that we've been looking at. But again, it's something to see that if you have gaps in these areas, they're each going to represent very, very serious problems to the ability of that group to be able to function successfully. It's why you have to keep in mind, what is the most significant thing to grasp at this stage of our work together is to grasp how significant the gap is. And to begin to understand that the gap, because by the way, they are enormously common, that the gap allows you as a consultant the opportunity to automatically, instantaneously recognize the area of dilemma or the area where there is a problem in the organization, and to be able to point to it. And again, we will talk as we go along about what can be done with such a dilemma, which leads us into engineering and leads us into the potential of being able to fill that gap and to bring functionality in that sense to the Penta. But to understand that gapping is the basis of the way in which we begin our interpretation of any group. The moment that we see that there is a gap, we already understand where the energy loss of the business is, where everything, points to, where the dilemmas happen to be. I have one more illustration for you. And this says the Sphinx in great measure. And, basically what we are looking at is the Sphinx gates plus the 14. The 14th gate being possession in great measure. When you're looking here, you see that this entity, everything about it is being able to express the vision and to be able to express that capacity for vision in three ways. This is the whole theme. This is the dynamic of what the Penta is. It is what the Penta is all about. And it is a perfect material mechanism. I mean, that's what's so special about it. The functional Penta. I mean, think about, the dilemma of an organization that has, let's say, everything filled in, but they don't have the 8, And they've got some person that was there at the very beginning, one of these creative forces that were part of the development of this concept. And they're the ones that's responsible for going out there and trying to get people interested. And everybody is complaining about them, because the sales are terrible. I mean, the company is rolling along because there are resources there, which means that, the people who are founding the company are probably dumping money into it. And at the same time, there is enough business going through the door that they're able to sort of just keep things going. And all the blame is being put on this person, and it's the gap that's to blame. Now imagine for a moment that they hire somebody, which they wouldn't do under normal situation, because, the idea of hiring somebody is you hire somebody when you're doing well and you want to expand, not when you're having problems and you don't want another mouth to feed. However, you bring in that person, and that person has this particular, I'm just coloring that in, this particular aspect. That same person, let's say it was this one, that was responsible for the sales, all of a sudden, they are just getting it done. all of a sudden they're hitting a winning streak. All of a sudden they're doing a fantastic job selling. It's not about their ability to sell. It's the functionality of the penta. And that the functionality of the penta is going to take everybody's contributed potential and enhance it. And enhance it. You know, this is what makes the penta such a wonderful, attractive, sucked us all in, you know, material gaining mechanism. And this is what it's all about. You know, it's this drive, this movement. And of course, this movement demands not simply demonstration, but growth. But growth. See, the only way that the penta is going to be satisfied is when the material dynamic, the result of the whole, is a better bottom line, is bigger bonuses for everybody, is the smile on their face that they have a success, and so forth and so on. It's what penta's about. And you see, it is not about how talented the people are. I mean, it's not about gathering idiots together either. But it's not about how talented they are. It's not about the fact that if everybody was super, 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 super good, if there was a gap, they wouldn't look so super. They wouldn't. You know, it's always these dream teams that people want to bring together, and the chemistry is awful. It's quite a creature, this penta. It really is. But where you begin to understand it is you begin to understand that because it is unidirectional, gaps are devastating. And because it is unidirectional, gaps are not natural. They're not. In that sense that functionality of the penta is dependent on everything being activated. And of course what we're going to see is that every single one of these activations relative to the being that's involved, we get to see the way in which they function within this context. Anyway, we will continue our journey next week. There was a question that I was asked by Anna and Gerhard about the new students this year gaining access to the business program. The students in the first 2 years, I mean, the students in the first year, they had to wait until the second semester because, quite frankly, it wasn't ready. And I just followed that.